So now the next thing that we're going to talk about is coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are angles in standard position that have the same initial and terminal arms. And, well, they're called coterminal angles, which I just said. 150, 510, 870, negative 210, negative 570, negative 930 are all called coterminal angles because they have the same initial and terminal arms. Now, what this effectively means, we're going to start with that angle of 150 degrees. So if I draw out my angle of 150 degrees, 0, 90, 180, we know that 150 is going to be about right there. Now, what happens if I go one more full rotation around from this? So now I go, and what I've done is I've added 360 degrees to this. So originally we had the angle of 150, but I added 360, and that gives me 510 degrees. So we call those angles to be coterminal. And what can happen is I can keep on going around and adding that 360, and adding that 360, and adding that 360. Similarly, what I can also do is I can also go in the negative direction when I do this. So instead of adding that 360, I can go backwards on my angle, and right here, the first one that we'd have is we'd go, oops, sorry, forgot to select the pen. We go backwards like this, and that 150 minus 360 would give me negative 210 degrees. So this is negative 210 degrees. And then I could go one more full rotation backwards and get negative 210 minus another 360, and that would give me negative 507 degrees. And similarly, I can keep on going around and around and around and around, and I can make as many rotations as I want. So, determine two positive and two negative coterminal angles, there we go. Determine two positive and two negative angles which are coterminal with each of the following angles. So this is actually pretty simple. Starting off in degrees, we go 200 degrees, and then I add 360 to that, which will give me 560 degrees. I go 560 degrees, I add 360 degrees, and I get 560 plus 360, which would equal 920 degrees. Similarly, to get the negative ones, I go 200 minus 360 degrees, and that would give me negative 160 degrees. And then I go negative 160 minus 360, and that gives me the negative 520 degrees. Similarly, 465 for 465, if I go 465 and I add 360 degrees, well, that gives me 825 degrees. Even though I hope that I can do this in my head, I still kind of have that fear that I'll make a mistake, so I'm punching this all into my calculator. I go 465, and in this case I can minus 360 degrees to get another positive coterminal angle, just because 465 is greater than 360, and in that case I would get 105 degrees, and then I go 105 minus 360, and that would equal negative 255 degrees, and I go negative 255 minus 360, and that gives me negative 615 degrees. Now, for my radians. My radians just gets a bit trickier because now I have to start working with 2 pi. And we know that one full rotation is 360 degrees, or 2 pi radians. So since I'm starting with a negative here, I go negative 2 pi by 3. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 pi to that to get me into a positive. Now that's going to give me negative 2 pi by 3. And then I want to add these fractions, so that's 6 pi over 3. Putting 2 pi all over 3 means I'll have to have 6 pi over 3, because 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then lo and behold, this will give me 4 pi by 3. I then want another positive coterminal angle, so I go 4 pi by 3 plus 6 pi by 3, and that would give me 10 pi by 3. My negatives, negative 2 pi by 3, and then we're going to subtract the 6 pi by 3, which would give me negative 8 pi by 3. And I do this one more time, and that gives me negative 14 pi by 3. 17 pi by 6. So for 17 pi by 6, 17 divided by 6 is greater than 2. So I can get one of these by subtracting 2 pi, which would be 17 pi by 6 minus 12 pi by 6. And that would give me my first positive one as being 5 pi by 6. I could then go 17 pi by 6, and I can add the 12 pi by 6, which will give me 29 pi by 6. Then to get my negative, 5 pi by 6 minus 12 pi by 6 gives me negative 7 pi by 6. And negative 7 pi by 6 minus 12 pi by 6 gives me negative 19 pi by 6. So again, we can continually go forever and ever and ever in the positive and forever and ever in the negative direction. And that tells me there are an infinite number of angles that we can have that are coterminal to a given angle. In general, if theta represents the angle in standard position, then the coterminal angles, we can add 360n where n is in the set of integers, or we can add 2 pi n where n is in the set of integers. And basically that just means we can continually add 360, or I continually add 2 pi, or subtract either of the two of those. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Up next, we will talk about principal and coterminal angles.